It is possible to retire comfortably at 55 if you have $1 million. However, retiring 7 years before you qualify for Social Security benefits and 10 years before you qualify for Medicare coverage can be challenging. Your desired location, lifestyle, general health and life expectancy are also important factors to consider when you decide to retire at 55. In this video, we will take a look at some of the common factors for early retirement with $1 million. Before we do so, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Doing so will help the channel grow. Also share your thoughts in the comments section below. For example, do you think it's possible to retire at 55 with $1 million? Or do you think $2 million is closer to the mark? Now, let's take a look at the key factors to consider. Number 1 is the cost of retiring early. Age 55 is younger than the average retirement, which can range from 60 to 65. This complicates things a little bit since you will not be qualified for Social Security and Medicare benefits yet. Social Security payments kick in at age 62 and Medicare kicks in at age 65. So you will begin your retirement with 7 to 10 years without the government benefits. Moreover, if you have a 401k or traditional retirement accounts, you won't be able to access the money without a penalty until the age of 59 years and a half. Also, there might be other costs that you are dealing with at age 55. One might be that you are still raising children and paying for their education. You might still be paying your mortgage, your own student loans, or other personal loans. Or if you are recently divorced, you might be paying alimony or child support. So, you will need to make sure you factor those into your retirement plans. At the same time, $1 million is significantly more than the average retirement savings balance of $250,000 for 55 to 64-year-olds. So, if you invest that $1 million intelligently, you might be able to live comfortably. That also depends on the lifestyle you want to have in retirement, the location of your retirement, and other factors, which brings me to the next point, the 4% rule. A good way to know if $1 million is possible to retire on is to consider the 4% rule. This rule is used to figure out how much a retiree should withdraw from his or her retirement account. The 4% rule states that the money in your retirement savings account should last you through 30 years of retirement if you take out 4% of your retirement portfolio annually and then adjust each year thereafter for inflation. So, if you plan on retiring at 55 with $1 million for 30 years, using the 4% rule, you will need to live on $40,000 a year. That is before taxes. If you take more than the 4% from your nest egg, it may run short. Keep in mind that the 4% rule only works through 30 years of retirement and not for an indefinite amount of time. Another factor to consider is healthcare cost. One expense you cannot afford to overlook when retiring at 55 is healthcare. Once you retire at 55, more than likely you will lose your employer-sponsored health insurance. Therefore, you will need to replace with a private insurance. Health insurance is perhaps the largest cost of early retirement, since you will need to cover this expense with your own money for 10 years until you become eligible for Medicare. Then can eat away your nest egg. Your options for paying for healthcare cost include COBRA coverage, purchasing coverage through the healthcare marketplace, enrolling in a spouse's plan, healthcare sharing, etc. Regardless, you can expect to pay $500 a month or more for health insurance. And that's before any actual medical expenses kick in. While there are low-cost plans out there, but those usually come with high deductibles. A third factor to consider is that you will not be able to access your tax-advantaged retirement accounts without incurring a penalty. As mentioned earlier, Early withdrawals in retirement accounts such as your employer-sponsored 401k and traditional IRAs come with a 10% penalty. While there are ways to avoid or reduce the penalties, it could reduce your available income. Life expectancy is another factor to consider. Life expectancy plays a major role in determining whether $1 million is enough to retire at 55. The average 55-year-old expects to live another 25 to 30 years, according to the Social Security Administration's life expectancy table. So this is how long your nest egg is likely to last. If you live longer, then $1 million may not be enough and you might need to cut back a little on your expenses. The fifth factor to consider is your desired lifestyle. Some retirees can go by on $40,000 a year with no problem, while others will not be able to. So, it also depends on the kind of lifestyle you're going to have during retirement. It also depends on other factors such as your living expenses. For example, you may already own your home, free and clear, with no mortgage. That's a big reduction on your expenses. Second, you may not have any kids that are dependent on you. And if you do have kids, they have already graduated college and are able to take care of themselves. Lastly, you may have no problem living frugally. So if your expenses are low, $1 million might be enough to retire at age 55. Lastly, an important factor to consider is the fact that you will not be able to collect Social Security. As I mentioned earlier, you will not be receiving Social Security benefits at 55. Social Security benefits provide monthly income in addition to any other incomes you have. The earliest age you can begin collecting Social Security benefits is 62. Even if you are 62 years old, your Social Security benefits are reduced. The largest benefit amount you can receive is when you reach age 70. So, if you are asking whether you can retire at 55 with $1 million, you have to remember that you will not have Social Security benefits as a source of income for the first 7 years. And that if you try to take those benefits as soon as you become eligible, they would be less than what you would get if you waited until full retirement age instead. The bottom line is that retiring at 55 with $1 million is possible. However, you need to make sure that your retirement living expenses are not outrageous and you have good health. Also, you have to keep in mind that you will have to wait for 7 years before Social Security payment to kick in and 10 years before you become eligible for Medicare coverage. I hope you enjoyed watching today's video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, share the video, and most importantly subscribe to the channel for more similar contents. Also, let me know in the comments section. Is $1 million enough to retire at 55? Can you live with that kind of money comfortably? Where would you like to live with $1 million? Do you have any tips you would like to share? Thank you, and until next time.